Hi, welcome to my channel. I am Kay Frazier and I have homeschooled my kids for almost 20 years. And today I wanted to share with you a curriculum that I used way back 2003 with my first grade and kindergartner that I wanted to share with you. It's a little bit of an older curriculum. They've redone it a couple of times, but it is so great. I loved it. And I used it with all of my kids, and they're all different kind of characters, but it really set the stage for our homeschool journey. So if you're starting out, this is a really great way to ease into homeschooling, encouraging your kids to be lifelong learners. So it is this curriculum called 5 in a Row by Jane Claire Lambert. There are 3 volumes, and actually, sorry, there's 8 volumes now. When I first did it, there was 3 volumes. This is a first printing of it. Then they did a cover that looked a little bit like this with a spiral bound, which is always really nice. And then now they have one that has a balloon on the front if you go to their website. So there's, like I said, 8 volumes, but there's 3 that I used to start with that are geared more towards, I would say, kindergarten through possibly 1st, 2nd grade, that kind of age group. And I will be going through why I love it and how it works day to day. Also, they had a Christian character Bible study that went along with this. And this 1 volume covers all the 3 volumes of the younger version. And this just pulls out some verses, some things to talk about with your kids from each of the books. So how does this work? So this is a very Charlotte Mason style of learning that I incorporated into my homeschool a lot, especially in the younger years. And basically it's reading a book for 5 days in a row, the same book to your children. And then every day you focus on one part of the book, either the art or the geography that's written about in the book or something to do with the story or the person. Anyway, so I'll show you a little bit later on how that works. The types of books that they actually use are phenomenal. Some of them you will know and some of them you will not know, but you'll be glad that you were introduced to them. So this is the list of the books here, and I'll show a close-up of that. And then each of the 3 first volumes, it's about this type of a list. And so it's 55 books altogether. There was a couple I couldn't find because they were sort of out of print. But it is books like How to Make Apple Pie and See the World with amazing illustrations, which goes around the world. Mike Mulligan at Steam Shovel, the story about Ping. And you can see a lot of these books are very thin, amazing books you'll want to have on your bookshelf. They don't take up a whole lot of room. Madeline, Lentil, Glorious Flight, Storm in the Night. Now, some of them, like this, I'd never seen before. It's a phenomenal book. Amazing art as well. Amazing art. Tells stories from different eras. This one is Katie and the Big Snow. And then poems, Robert Frost, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. So that's volume 1. A note on finding the books. What I did was I would actually photocopy this first page, take it to the library and see what they had in stock. Or easier even still is to go online to your local library and find which ones they actually have on the bookshelves so that you know they're there when you need them through the year. The ones that you can't find, they could possibly get through the interlibrary loan system, and you order them as you need them and they'll be right there at the front desk, saving you tons and tons of time. Secondly, there's a lot of books. Honestly, I would buy them all if you can find them on, say, eBay or Thrift Books or some A-Books, all those online thrift bookstores. Because like things like this one, Down the Mountain, they're old, possibly have been reprinted for a really long time, but they are really great. And the stories that they tell of a time, an era that your kids will enter into in this week that they're going through, what it would have been like to live on a mountain and plant, anyway, I'm not going to tell you a story, but plant seeds and then harvest them and sell it. Down the Mountain, this is volume 2 now, got Little Red White House, Three Names, Owl Moon, A New Coat for Anna, set in World War II, Mrs. Katz and Tush, Myriad and the High Wire, this is in France, Peter Rabbit, one of my favorites, Ferdinand, such a great book, Make Way for the Ducklings. So this book, my daughter's 26 and she just had a birthday. She requested this book to put on her bookshelf ready for her children. Miss Rumphius, such a great book. She remembered, and when she pulled it out, all my boys went, "Oh, I remember that book." So I had four kids in a row, and then I had my youngest a little bit further apart. And so when I was doing this with him when he was younger, all my kids one by one would end up on the couch listening to these books that they knew and loved, and they still know and love. So this opens up a whole mindset for them to discover books are full of treasures and to be lifelong readers. That I am so thankful that somebody right at the beginning of my homeschool journey said, you should just do 5 in a row. Just try it out. And she actually gave me her set of these. I have since given away my set. So I only have volume 1 in the 2 different printings right now, and then the character study. But you can actually find used volumes of these on eBay too, or I can put a link below to the actual website. They actually have 8 volumes now. I only ever used the first 3, and I looked it up. They're actually doing chapter books, like say Boxcar Children, which would be really fun to do. And how I integrated this into our homeschool was I would do this first, and we would have fun, and we would draw art from it or social studies from it, and I'll show you that in just a second. My kids would also have possibly a handwriting book, like, handwriting, Reason for Handwriting, just a real simple handwriting book, okay, for kindergarten. Then we would do a math, say Horizons Math or Singapore Math or something. So it'd have a little bit of math, a little bit of writing, and then a phonics to help them start to read in the early, K through 3rd grade. And then I did 5 in a row and pulled everything else out from there. So it was just a wonderful way to start homeschooling, and I encourage you to think about using it. It is one of the resources that I'm probably going to buy each of these books and give them to my kids when they have kids. Okay, so flashback, I was looking. This is, my kids are 26 and 25 now. And this is a picture of them doing the Madeline. Obviously, my girl loved the Madeline books. We would do art. This is Madeline. This is the 12 little girls in 2 straight lines. My son's name was Peter, so we did Peter Rabbit, and he loved this whole drawing a picture and then writing his own name for Peter Rabbit. And anyway, so I went through a bunch of stuff and I found some fun things that we did, projects. You can actually go on Pinterest. I've seen they do lap books for each of these. Someone has put them on there for free, and you can print them off on lap books. Let's be little printables, and it will have some of the things that she's pulled out. So let me show you how that works with a day in the life of 5 in a row. So say you are doing Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. So you'd read this every single day, and then I'll show you this close up. But you can do social studies, would be history. So on Monday, you'll talk about the history of steam-powered earth-moving machines, which is something that children don't know about these days. They will also talk about human relationships, the characters in the book and how they relate to one another. One person is digging a hole for, anyway, not the story, but all the relationships in there. You'll talk about all those kinds of things. And then on Tuesday, you'll talk about, now, who are the characters in this book? And you start to teach them what makes a good story, and what's the setting, what's the conflict, what's the rising action. And you talk about all those facets of a story, and you get them to think, well, who is the main character? Where are they? What is the problem? How does it get concluded? What is the denouement? Personification of the steam shovel, right? Literary analysis and stuff like that. That would be Wednesday. And then I would leave Friday for art, and that's when we would do our art projects. And sometimes it teaches you, you can see in this type of book, there was a lot of movement, like the movement in the book. And so it showed you how, as an artist, he created the movement in the book. Anyway, things like that. It's just so fantastic. And then we did a science project using a tea kettle and showing how steam power works, just very simply. But it sticks with your kids. They've read it, they've seen something be used with steam power, and they see it in action in their own kitchen. So that is one book. And then another book was How to Make Apple Pie and See the World. So in this book, on day one, the social studies is definitely going to be all the geography. So it goes through all the different places that she went to get the ingredients to make the apple pie. And so you'd have a map on the wall, and there's all kinds of activities she gives you in here. And then it talks about how to get humor into books. The language used in the books is obviously new to your children, and so you'll start making a vocabulary list, and you'll talk about, what do you think that means? It's in the sentence. What does it sound like to you? And then you'll look up the definitions. Then same, there'll be lots of art discussions, how she got the humor in the pictures, the contrast of the colors. Then she talks about science on one day, and she actually went to get salt. And how do they make salt? And you actually go ahead and make salt. You can see it. You can do it in your kitchen. And so every day you pull something out that they possibly would have just glazed over if you'd only read the book and not actually thought about it for long enough. And then they deeply appreciate so much more in the books that they read from this point on. So this is how I started homeschooling my kids. It was back in 2003, and I really didn't know where to start. And I'm so thankful we started this more gentle approach to homeschooling. And I learned about the Charlotte Mason method, using living books, using books that inspire your kids and make them be able to relate to the world and think about things that they would never have encountered before. And that love of books and that love of learning will be ignited in them with this kind of curriculum. So I highly recommend 5 in a Row. So go ahead and look on their website. I'll link it below. And if you liked it, go ahead and give a thumbs up. And if you want other videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Hope you have a great homeschooling week. And for the courage for homeschooling your kids, it is worth it. And God bless you.